much do you think the wrestling is going to be an advantage for Kane in this fight? Obviously, he wrestled at a higher level than you did. And, you know, you would do pretty well on submissions if you got onto the ground. But how much wrestling will be a factor in this?
I think wrestling is a huge factor in all the fights. Typically, the guy who's a better wrestler can decide where the fight goes, whether it's standing, whether it's on the ground. I just hope to make it to where both those are not viable, choices.
And also, Frank, just coming off the submission that you did, do you think that that has any kind of, impact, like, making Kane a little more wary of your submissions, knowing what you're capable of, even if he catches you or something?
No, not necessarily. I think that everybody is just like when you watch somebody knock somebody out, or vice versa. I think that you pretty much figure that you see what they're good at, you're aware of it. But submissions, if you stay in good position, don't really come available to the other opponent. Yeah, I think it kind of works on the fact that when you see a 135-pound fighter fighting, he can be the baddest dude at 135, and 145, and 155. But I think a lot of people, when they're watching the fights, in the back of their mind, they kind of feel that, yeah, but I'm 220. Even though he knows how to fight, I could probably kick his ass. We're the heavyweights. If you're thinking that, you're stupid.
Talk a little bit about, finding an optimal size for performance at heavyweight. There was a period, where you had gotten really big when you were fighting Carwin and Lesnar, and now you seem to have slimmed down a little bit. Can you talk about finding an optimal performance size?
I think it's all dependent on the athlete. I find for myself in the gym, I can look at my performances, my conditioning, my speed is best when I'm a little bit lighter. I thought that gaining size would have helped me make up for the size difference in Brock, but that was really more of a technical difference. I was looking more for, I looked up the wrong area on what to improve. So right now, I'm happy where I'm at right now.
Obviously, the setbacks you had in recent times were against guys that seem to have a similar style to Kane, in fact, big, strong wrestlers, that sort of thing. So when you look at this fight, does that concern you at all? I mean, or is that, does he stack up similar to them, or that's just what happened those nights or those athletes?
No, that concerns me greatly. I think wrestling is one of the hardest things stylistically I have a hard time with. And so it's always going to be an issue, and it's something for me to constantly improve on and work on in the gym.
And this is a #1 contenders bout now, so you're right back on the cusp again. When you were having those losses, was there ever a time that you lost faith, lost focus, that sort of thing, or did you always know that you'd be right back here on the cusp of a title shot?
No, I'm human. There's times when you sit there and you despair, and it doesn't seem like you're going to make it. Then the next day you get back on your horse and you keep on trying. Luckily I have a strong family unit and friends around me that help keep me motivated and in the right direction.
Frank, former UFC champ, veteran fighter. Now you're back at the doorstep, #1 contender fight. As a veteran guy, do you appreciate this opportunity maybe a little bit more than you did earlier in your career?
Yeah, I believe I do. Just for the reason being, when you first become the champion, sometimes everything is overwhelming, and you don't get to really appreciate things till you step back. Kind of like as you get older, you get to look back on things and you get to see it for appreciation for the first time sometimes. And so, as now being a possibility of going back up for it, I get to appreciate it again. I get to realize that things slow down a little bit. They're not so hectic and so fast.
Frank, you might be the only guy up there that kind of was around in this division when it didn't have the depth it did now. What's it like for you to see the heavyweight division where it is now? Did you always kind of envision this day?
The one thing was back in the day, the fights kind of got spread out a little bit farther because there wasn't as many guys to match up against. Anytime you're trying to make a run towards a title, the worst thing in the world is to get an opponent that when you tell people you're fighting them and they ask who that is. At least now we don't have that issue. I mean, almost everybody in the top 10 of the UFC, everybody is a household name, recognizable, and that it makes it much more pleasurable to train and fight, because there's always a risk when you walk into the octagon. I'd rather take that risk against a guy that's considered dangerous than take that risk against a guy who's, an unknown.